Right, okay, we're going to start putting people in the promoter panelists. First question is going to be Ben Ransom. First three questions from Ben Ransom from Sky, and then we'll go to Sam Ashu, followed by James from TalkSport. Again, you please, if you want to ask a question, use the hands up mechanism, and we will come to you to the panel. So Ben, you're up first.
Lovely, thank you. Good afternoon, Jurgen.
Hello.
Without wishing to go over the same ground again, I know that the Liverpool supporters and everyone in football would really like to know how Virgil is getting on. Have you got an update on his condition and whether he has had surgery or not yet, and when that's likely to happen, if not?
Oh, yeah, I can understand that people are interested in that. And we saw Virgil was here. He's okay. But about when the surgery will happen and stuff like this, I don't think it makes sense that we give pretty much a time schedule every day. But it will be fine and will happen in an appropriate time. And so that's it pretty much. But he's as good as possible.
And now he has been fully assessed. Do you have a better idea about how long he'll be out for?
Well, that's the next one. No, we don't even want to know it, to be honest. It will take time, that's clear. But in the end, it's really like this, that all people are different. And so we should not limit that by saying for him it was that long, for him it was that long. I think it makes sense from a specific moment in the recovery and the rehab time that he really... that then it becomes individual, because then everybody copes different with it, and each body, and that's why no need for.
And just finally then, on your squad for this weekend, any further injuries, or how is anyone likely to come back? For example, is Alisson possibly in line to return this weekend?
So let me say it like this with the others. So apart from Oxenberg, obviously, and maybe... Kostas, who gets closer and closer, but it's not at all in contention for this game or for the next one. So all the others we have to see day by day, pretty much. It's a lot about a lot of discussions, conversations, I would say, not discussions, with the medical department. For who it makes sense and for who it's too early and for who, all these kind of things. So that's the time we are in with the games we have. If somebody's injured for 2 weeks, that could mean 5 games, and it's still not a serious injury. But that's it. So I don't know in this moment who will be available. But my last information was that with the boys who played the other night, they are all fine. So they are okay, and the rest we will see.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to Sam Ashu for the next 2 questions. Sam.
Hi, good to see you.
Hi, Sam.
In terms of Premier League football, at least, it's pretty much a game a week or so for the next 5 weeks. With that in mind, do you expect results and performances overall in the Premier League to return to a little bit more of normality, or with the continuation of no fans, should we still expect big scorelines and slightly strange scorelines at times?
I don't know. I don't know. Really, I didn't even think about it. It's not. We are not too much interested in score lines, strange score lines now. I think it's just about make sure that you have a good chance to win the game, and not whichever result it means. So we are obviously not the team who wants to concede a lot, stuff like this, and but we know goals can still happen. So on either side, and that's the situation. So I have no idea what will happen in the Premier League. We really we make not a real difference between Premier League and Champions League, because it's just 3 days pretty much all the time between the games, and so we just wake up, recover, and yes, today is it possible to have kind of a session? Use that, because it's completely different. Ajax and Sheffield United is the way they play is completely different, and Sheffield United deserves a lot of attention for what they do, because they are really good in that. And even when the results were so far not exactly how they wished for, but the performances were not that bad. I'm pretty sure Chris Wilder knows that, and so. They will build on that, and that makes it for us tricky. And they had a full week to to prepare the game, and with all the strength they have in set pieces anyway, they had time for working on that as well. So it will be a tough one for us, and like it always was against Sheffield, obviously, and that's why we are completely focused on this game and don't think about the general situation in the Premier League.
Chris Wilder has said that Ryan Brewster may well start tomorrow. He's obviously a player that you know very well. How much does the fact that you know his game inside out help with your preparations ahead of tomorrow's game?
We all know him very well, and that's the problem. We know how good he is, and that's the situation. So, and how always when a boy, especially like Ryan, who's really our boy, okay, maybe I have to say, used to be our boy, whatever, but still we feel it the way, means that always I wish them really the nearly perfect Premier League season. That means, okay, he couldn't have played 36 games, but if then 36 world-class games and 2 days off, pretty much, and that's always the games when we play them, and I hope for this day. But I'm not sure that will happen. So we need to be 100% focused if he starts, but not only him. Come on, they've really, how I said, Sheffield United is doing really well, and it's not unlikely that something like what happened to them now, result-wise, they had a pretty tough start from fixtures-wise, and so it's normal. I'm pretty sure Chris is calm enough to know all the good things they did are still good, and they still just have to keep them going, and that's what they will try, and that makes it really a very intense game. It's Sheffield, yeah. So the way they play is, if you want to win the game, you have to be intense yourself, and that's it. And if Ryan is then on the pitch, yes, then we know that we should not let him finish at all, because from wherever he gets the ball, he is a natural finisher, and that's his biggest threat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. We'll go to James. After this, we've got James Mountford and Carl Markham, and as it stands, that will be it for the Open if people don't use the hands-up mechanism. So, James, your question for TalkSport.
Jurgen, it felt like a really significant win on Wednesday night. Things obviously didn't go your way for a number of reasons last Saturday. So how much confidence do you and the squad take into this game tomorrow?
Oh, I like the game from a performance point of view against Everton much more than the game against Ajax. But you have to win the games, and I can understand. By the way, it's really a bit disappointing when I hear that people confront Erik ten Hag with what I said about the pitch, and then he has to respond on that. That's really a bit embarrassing. So I didn't blame the pitch for our performance. I said it was not a good pitch, and it didn't help both teams. So. But who is interested in the truth nowadays? That's the thing. So, but 1 week ago we played a sensational game in really difficult circumstances, and I like that a lot. So we don't struggle with confidence or whatever. It's just we have to make sure that we are ready for this game physically and mood wise, and so that's what we do for years already, which is the biggest challenge, to make sure that you're always ready. But this is the next one. It's Anfield against Sheffield United. It's tough. Make sure you're ready, and then we have a chance.
Can I just ask you about how things change with Fabinho playing at centre-back? Obviously he's a different player to Virgil van Dijk. You said he enjoys playing there, but how much does that change things from a defensive point of view?
Well, they're different players, but both can defend. So that's good. That helps, obviously. Yes, we all know that Fab can play this position. He played it this season before. I don't know which year, but against Bayern, for example, in a home game. And he played absolutely great. So I'm not surprised that he can play the position, but it's all about getting used to each other. How I said, this line before the Ajax game, I don't think played together exactly like this, and that makes it, of course, there's a lot of things from an organization point of view, and you cannot talk about it or exchange notes about it. It's just to feel that's right, that's wrong, he's doing that, high line, lower line, and all this kind of stuff. So that's why I said there's a lot to improve, because these boys need to get used to each other. But he can play the position, but that's it.
Okay, fantastic. Then we've got James Mountford, and then we're finishing out with Carl Markham in the absence of any more hands. So James, you're two, and then I'll go to Carl.
Hello, Jurgen. You've been away from Anfield for a couple of games. How much are you looking forward to returning there? And 61 league games now unbeaten at Anfield.
Oh, I thought we can do one press conference without mentioning that. But yes, we are looking really forward to play at home because I think we have now 3 home games in a row, if I'm right. That's great. Actually, if you ask me, we could play 36 times at home. I just love Anfield. It's a great place. I love our dressing room. I love all the things there, and I love the atmosphere even when the people are not in, because it's just our home. Yes, we are really looking forward to it.
Can I just ask you about Rhys Williams and defensive problems notwithstanding with injuries? What has impressed you about him? Because he's a player who's gone from the National League North last season, albeit on loan, to now playing just a couple of minutes, but a couple of minutes in the Champions League.
Yes, that's a nice story, I saw it in his eyes after the game that he was pretty impressed by that occasion, and it's nice. He's a big talent, not only physically big, really. He's a real talent, and it's nice to have him around. That he played last year, wherever, I don't even know exactly, but I know it was non-league, and somewhere in Birmingham, if I'm right. That just makes it special. But with the situation, for example, Nate Phillips is here as well, and Billy the Kid is here as well. So these boys are really around, and Nate Phillips, we thought would be a transfer, but then in the last second it didn't happen. And Nate is we all know we brought him already back last year from Stuttgart for one game against Everton, in which he did really well. So these are solutions for us and helps us a lot. The boys are great. It's a big opportunity, obviously, for them. How always in life, if something bad happens, when the dust is kind of settled, then you can see the opportunities again. But so it's all about doing the right things in the right moment. And for Rhys, it was now the first Champions League minutes, which is nice. But that's how it is.
Okay, fantastic. So we go to Carl Markham. These are going to be the last 2 questions in the Open. Then the embargo will be from 10:30 p.m. this evening. If those who would normally ask in the embargo section want to ask if they can start using the hands-up mechanism now, so I can move to that as soon as we're finished with Carl's questions. But Carl, it's over to you for the final 2 in the Open presser.
Hey again.
Hi, Carl.
Can I just clarify on the Finns issues? You said you're taking it day by day. Does that mean that Thiago and Joel Matip are in contention for tomorrow?
I don't know. We have training after the press conference, so we will see who is out there. You can only be in contention if you are in training. But I look in my situation. Actually, I don't want to rule anybody out until somebody tells me. And so far, nobody told me. Maybe I should have listened better. But for me, everybody apart from the 3 I mentioned is in contention until somebody tells me different.
Okay, thank you. And tomorrow, if he starts, will be Andy Robertson's 100th Premier League appearance. I'm just wondering if you can talk about his and the side's evolution and the role, the importance of the role he plays, particularly impressive against Ajax.
Andy Robertson won 100th Premier League game for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And how many altogether? Then 130 something with Hull, I think. Okay, great. Finally, something nice to talk about. Where can I start? With Mr. Robertson, so it's great. This is a very wonderful story. I don't want to go back to his beginnings, but from the moment when he arrived here, it's a wonderful story. And yes, he established himself on a really high level. And it's much too early to make any resumptions or whatever. But so far, it was absolutely good, or even better. So I like him as a person very much. He's pretty chatty. I think we had a few words at Amsterdam. So I was shouting at him like a devil. And Robbo's character is then he cannot hold completely back to respond. But he's like me as well. The game is over and then it's all fine. So as long as you keep yourself together. But that's all good. So I like working with him because he's a brilliant character and a super player.
just Chris, do you like that from players? When they respond to you and
no, it's not about do I like it. It's just no. It's not a conversation usually. So it's just so sometimes in this game especially, it was not about exchanging informations. It was about actually kicking their ass. That they go for it because the game was still open and it was hard for the boys, and obviously Robbo got a proper knock on his chest, so it was slightly difficult to breathe and all these kind of things. And then human beings are like this, and you feel a bit sorry for yourself or feel a bit of self-pity, whatever. It hurt so much, and then somebody needs to tell you, yeah, we can talk about that after the final whistle. And that was pretty much my job. And the only problem was Robbo was directly next to me. And that, So I shout at him as loud as I shout in that moment to Shaqiri, who was on the other side, and that obviously is then different.
Thank you, Carl. All the best. Right, okay, now we'll go to the embargo bit. There's a second, guys, while I promote the panellists. We've only got one hand up, by the way, at the moment for the embargo section.